Hey, Booze. Welcome to episode 26 of the Young Monarchs podcast. Shout out to all the first-time listeners, the day ones, all the ones in between, just coming to, peep and just get on out of here. Thank you for joining. Thank you for tuning into this movement. Be sure to follow us on Instagram at _Young Monarch. If you want to follow me on Instagram, my Instagram is at Miss Tierra XO, and also subscribe to the Young Monarchs YouTube channel where you guys can now watch our live podcast and listen to the episode.
Don't worry.
So this week I'm joined by one of Atlanta's very own bosses, Erica Mines. She's based here, and after 10 years as working as a marketing executive in corporate America, she took her knowledge and skill set and pretty much has transitioned into the beauty industry as an influencer and YouTube personality under one of her new companies, Galena Beauty. And pretty much you've been having your own glow up during quarantine, starting both of your businesses.
Yes.
Go ahead and say hi, a little bit about what you do.
Yeah, so hi, Young Monarchs. Thank you so much for having me on your show. I'm super excited. I am here for you guys to pick my brain, to give you a wealth of knowledge, to drop some gems on your career, and then also on how to boss up in your relationships. Thank you for the warm introduction, Tiara. Like you touched on, I've been in corporate America for 10 years. I worked at ABC Television in New York in their ad sales marketing department, as well as was an account executive here in Atlanta at Outfront Media Group, selling billboard advertisement, and then most recently came from a small agency called Ideas United, where I was in business development, and pretty much what my expertise is client relationships and client building. You've all heard the saying, life isn't about what you know, it's about who you know, and I couldn't agree with that even more than what the statement is about. That's so true. Life is truly about who you know, and I am a proponent of building relationships and growing business and growing relationships. I've worked with such advertisers such as Coca-Cola, Schlotzsky's, Loco, sandwich shop here in Atlanta, Revlon at Ideas United, and really understanding what their needs are in business and then coming up with those marketing campaigns to help drive their sales. So whether it's a new campaign for a new longwear foundation that's coming out, or Schlotzsky's introducing their new sandwich, I'm very much so in those meetings as a consultative marketing person for them to launch their ideas off of me and then to scale their business. So after 10 years, working in corporate, I actually got let go from my previous job. I'm very big on transparency and honesty. And kind of the idea of going back into corporate America, it was like daunting. Like even to this day, like my boyfriend's like, you need something coming in, you need money coming in. And I am a true Aquarius. Like we hate when people like tell us what to do. We hate hovers. Like, did you do this? Did you do this? Did you follow up with that person? And kind of got really burnt out in the hunting role. So I really took this time to really do a lot of soul searching and dig deep inside and realize that, like I think when someone's asking you what your purpose is and what your passion is, number one, obviously you should look within inside yourself. But another key point is like, what has everyone always said about you throughout your life? And so many people are like, oh my God, aside from just the looks, like your skin, you're so flawless. I love the way you are, put yourself together. You're aesthetically pleasing. And like, I love your eyeshadow. Where'd you get this? Where'd you get that? Everyone's like, where's your blog? And like, I never, because, growing up, your parents are like, be a lawyer or a doctor. And, in business, I never really executed on my creative endeavor. So during this time, I really took that time to really pursue my passion. So that's when I started Galena Beauty and have kind of grown that channel. Already have like maybe like 6 or 7 episodes right now. And then also took a deep dive into Candied Creations, which is my side business. And that really focuses in on, you know, desserts and pastries. So whether it be, you know, apple pie, apple cobbler, peach cobbler, banana pudding, which I would say is like my most favorite dessert and what everyone orders. I've really just found a love and passion for that. So only been in business 3 months. I've had over 50 orders within Candied Creations, looking to scale and grow that business. Want to open a storefront either the top of next year or, you know, mid next year. Working on a website. Working on a website so that way people can order, you know, online, and just trying to drive traffic to the site as well and new customers. And, you know, just really taking this time to focus in on what I want to do. You know, like I said, I'm in a relationship, you know, would love to be married and, you know, start a family. And, you know, I can't go to corporate every day, you know, as a mother. So really want to set myself up for the next kind of 5 to 10 years. So that way I am my own boss and not having, you know, someone tell me what to do. So, you know, love Atlanta, actually a alum from Spelman College here in Atlanta. Hey. So I have a network here of, you know, beautiful and intelligent women that I lean on for support. And I just feel like entrepreneurship is a new wave, and especially here in Atlanta, like there's just so many, like whether it's Invest Atlanta, like different grants that are given to young women, and, you know, African American women are like the #1 business starters in the nation. I feel like there's just a lot of support here. So definitely want to stay. And yeah. Just keep grinding it out until, you know, I can make $1 out of 15 cents pretty much.
That's awesome. I know, like, when we first started working together, when you talk about people saying like, oh, you're so well put together, I think that was one of the first things that I really admired about you. Because when I think about all the agencies that I've worked at have been very chill, very laid back, very come as you are. So me coming out of college and going straight into agency life, it was like, oh, we're wearing jeans to work every day? Like, okay. I never had like that corporate side. So when I saw you coming into agency, full face every day.
Every day, honey. Right. Like I said, do not leave your house without your makeup, honey.
I think in one of my meetings, I was just looking at her. I was like, I need to do better. I need
to put on you're so sweet. You're so sweet. I love it. That's so kind of you.
But I love that. Like, I just love the fact that you kind of owned the fact that I'm going to do a full face. I'm going to be cute every day, and you're going to know that I'm here. So I did definitely admire that about you. And then the way that you just kind of very confident about when you talk about business, of course, from all of your experience, like you talk like you speak as far as I'm giving you this advice and you should take it. If you don't take it, that's on you. But I want to give you this advice.
Exactly. Absolutely. And I couldn't agree more. And I think I am that way, you know, for one, because, you know, obviously my upbringing, you know, God bless my family, but also I got help. And I know how hard it is to be successful as a woman, as a person of color in corporate America, when your voice is not heard, when they're telling you kind of like put up and shut up, like do as I say, and really leaning in and really having that voice to stick up for yourself, stick up for your client. When you have that unction and that you know, intuition within your soul and your spirit that's telling you something is wrong, you know, act on that, speak on that. So, you know, I just, you know, give gratitude to the people who've come before me, who've kind of pulled me up, you know, on their journey. And that's why I kind of pass that down to the younger generation as well.
Oh, yeah. So today we're getting into everything teaching girls who live in Atlanta, who want to be in business, want to have their own business, want to be in marketing, kind of how to level up and how to kind of get to where you want to go. Especially for like women of color that are watching in marketing industries or in any industry, we know like the struggles. So this episode is going to be very fun.
Yeah, I can't wait.
We're going to get into dating too, like how to have both. So that'll be fun.
Okay. You've got to have both, honey. You got to have a full life.
Right. So let's go ahead. We're going to jump into the boss shit segment. And the current events that has been all over my timeline has been this entanglement. And I've been seeing so many people go back and forth on Facebook, seeing all the boys' comments, seeing like the funny comments from the girls. And I just wanted to, like, with Young Monarchs being about everything in creating our dream life, entanglements are not in my dream life, but entanglements are in part of certain people's lives. And I just wanted to see how somebody else thinks about this. Like, when I saw everything, so for anybody who does not know, you need to get on Instagram. But August Alsina recently did an interview with Angela Yee where he kind of, promoting his new album that's coming out, talked about how Jada and the whole Smith family kind of helped him during his recovery from everything that was going on about 4 or 5 years ago with him.
Mm-hmm.
And his transition pictures from when he first started, when he was kind of like at his lowest,
right?
He is now. I was looking at the pictures like, you've been drinking your water, eating your
listen, taking care of yourself first. Yeah.
And just to find out, well, him saying, he said a few things that hit my heart, like, oh, this was serious. Because when he said he would die, like he could die today and he would be okay. I think I was watching it with my boyfriend. I was like, somebody's dying out here for me.
Right. Listen, she put it on him.
I was taken aback because you can tell when somebody's being honest. Like, you can tell when somebody's being genuine, speaking from their heart. And it seemed like he was just giving the tea. Like, he was like, nobody's going to silence me. This was a huge part of my life, a huge, amazing thing, but it was a little messy.
For sure. And I had pretty much the same reaction you did when I first saw it. Like, I definitely saw it trending on social media. I had never seen the actual interview he had with Angela Yee, but then I went back and saw it. And what was most shocking to me, and in my PR marketing mind, it was kind of ironic that he commented about it in the beginning of the interview, which I thought was like very strategic, because everyone knows, like, that thing was an hour. And I even told my boyfriend, I was like, listen, if this crap is like all the way at 45 minutes, like, I'm not going to listen to it all the way through before I get on it. So I say that to say that it really captivated the audience and made people want to listen in more and dig deeper as to what he was saying. And what I thought was really funny is a lot of people are like, man, like, he's lying. Like, I don't believe him. But I believed him.
Yes.
Like, and I did not think, like, everyone was like, oh, he said, we were in a relationship. Like, everyone's like, oh, like, I think they just meant, like, a platonic relationship. And in my head, I'm like, no, like, they were intimate. You see what I'm saying?
They was in there together.
Right, exactly. And then when Jada's Red Table Talk came out with Will, like, and I saw that, I was just
on the floor.
I was on the floor. Like, number one, I feel like I used to intern at Def Jam and worked at Clear Channel Radio. So I, was in the entertainment industry, and I had heard a lot of that rumor mill, like, that they're swingers and they have an open relationship. And like, for me, I was shocked that Jada had admitted to the relationship. I thought, because, a lot of people idolize them and, put them on a pedestal in terms of like relationship goals, I thought that, she wouldn't be so forthcoming with that information. And then when she dropped the entanglement verbiage, I was just like, sis, like, just keep it 100, like, just say what it was. And I love how Will kind of had the
Caught
audience
her.
back and push back on her, and it was like, no, like open up that can of worms. Like, what exactly does entanglement mean? And then when she said, yeah, you know, August and I had a relationship, like my heart dropped. Like I was like, I'm shocked that she said it. I'm shocked. Like, I don't care. Like, I think it's inappropriate for her to have a relationship with someone that much younger than her. Because he's
Yeah.
only like 4 years older than Jaden. He's young enough to be her son. So I thought that was inappropriate. As far as a predatory, you know, her being a predator, I wouldn't take it that far, because at the end of the day, men prey on vulnerable women all the time. So when a woman does it, it's a problem. Like, I don't really care about that. Hello, that part. But I do feel like overall, I wouldn't if I was Jada, I wouldn't call it a relationship. I think you had relations with August. Because at the end of the day, what can a 27-year-old, 24, 23 at the time give you other than maybe mental and emotional? Like, he can't provide for you. He is not mature enough. He doesn't have enough experience. Like, I don't care if you came from the hood and you know, have all this trauma and you're more mature than the average bear. At the end of the day, you've never had a family, you've never been married, you don't have kids. Like, there's so many things that she has done on her journey that he's just not there yet. So to me, you didn't have a relationship, it was relations.
Yeah. I so I loved I just really admired the fact that they were, even though this happened 4 years ago, so I'm sure if this was fresh and they were at this table, it would have been a little hotter than it was.
Hello.
But I do love the fact that Will kind of called her out and was like, "What an
Yeah.
entanglement? What is that?
Right.
Like, what is it? What is it? Tell
Right.
what's going
Right.
on?"
Break it down.
But at the same time, I think like completely inappropriate. I don't care if it's Will was doing it, if Jada was doing it. I feel like if you're married, and you want to entangle yourself, just get married and entangle with whoever you want to. Like,
Hello. Literally.
I feel like people as individuals, you have to put boundaries on something.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like the marriage is what you should put the biggest boundary on.
Right.
But,
and like I don't care if you're separated, going through stuff, like at the end of the day, they probably knew they were gonna get back together. It is surprising that Will gave the okay to Jada for pursuing that. And then in the back of my mind it clicked, well, what the hell was Will doing this whole time to make him feel comfortable to give Jada a pass? Because no man under this earth, men are possessive, they're territorial. No man under this earth is going to allow his wife or ex-wife to do whatever, you know, she wants to do.
Facts. Because that's what I saw so many people being like, oh, if your girl sides with Jada, she for the streets, and guys just kind of going in on her. And it's wrong what she did.
Yeah.
If it was a man, it would be wrong as well.
Right.
I didn't like, I wanted to make a comment, but I didn't. I did not like the fact that so many men were going in on her because you're like, oh, you're a woman. You're supposed to be for your man and your man only. And you're supposed to be like with your man, ride or die. My whole question is, I'm no double standards, like at all when it comes to me and my relationship. So what you allow as the man of our relationship is what I'm going to do.
That part.
So for me, it was kind of like, y'all don't feel this way when you know your homeboys is cheating on their girlfriends and wives. Why are you so bothered now that you, I guess because the word entanglement, because she did try to spice it up. But I just kept seeing so many guys just going in on her. And I'm like, do you go in on your friends like this?
Right.
Do you hold your homeboys to the same type of respectful standard?
No, they don't.
And that's kind of when I was just like, I'm going to let y'all have it because you don't want me to get in here.
Right. Yeah. No, they don't. They literally are like ride or die for the boys. My whole thing is like, he does it, then that gives him a pass on the other guy to do it. Like,
no,
it's not okay. And then lastly, what I want to really touch upon is the end where Will was like, oh, you know, you got me this time and, you know, it's my turn to get you back or whatever. And then Jada was like, no, like, you're being petty. She's like, I think you got me back. And
more than once.
Right. And she kind of stopped herself. And then the fact that, yeah, she said more than once. And I'm in my head like, damn, like it basically confirmed what we already had speculated of
Yeah.
the fact that they have an open relationship. And like, listen, you like it, I love it. I'm not here to judge you. Whatever floats your boat, if that what makes your marriage work, who am I to sit here and say that that's wrong? But for me, how I was raised, what I believe to be true, like I honor the sanctity of marriage, and in that I'm not going to allow outside parties to come in and like rock the boat. Like it was
Yeah.
alarming, and like there were so many memes that I had like reposted that like made me laugh so hard because I'm like, this is just unacceptable. And like a lot of people were like showed like Will crying, like what month comes after July, and then it's like Will saying August, and he has it's like, to me it just like it was a mockery of the fact that they allowed this kind of nonsense to be in their marriage. And it's just surprising, and it just is also confirmation like you really can't hold these celebrities to a godlike standard because they aren't perfect.
Right. And I also think it kind of just sheds light on like marriage in general should be what the two people make it.
Mm-hmm.
So to your point, you like it, I love it. Whatever you're comfortable with in your marriage, cool. That has nothing to do with me.
Mm-hmm.
But I've been taught, and I have a very high respect for women,
Mm-hmm.
to where I'm like, you got a girlfriend? No. You got a wife? No. You got a baby mama? No. Like
Mm-hmm.
I can't get in there with you
Mm-hmm.
because it's
Mm-hmm.
too much going on, and there's too many women that I don't know, but I would automatically have some type of respect for just because of who I am. And
Absolutely.
that makes it a little hard for me to be like,
Right.
who cares?
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, and I'm not trying to bash a region, but like even my friends from LA, like I feel like it's like a LA vibe. And like I know Jada's from the East Coast, but she's lived in LA for so long, and it's kind of like also like a Hollywood thing. I think it's like acceptable, but like all the LA people I know are so laissez-faire about like love and relationships and sex. Like they're very free and like almost like hippie like they don't look to it as like a high standard or high regard. Like it's like, oh yeah, I have had threesomes, or I've messed with girls, like, and whatever. But like I said, whatever floats your boat. But like, it's just a different mentality.
Yeah, like you can do whatever, but I definitely feel like a lot of people don't care about those boundaries. So people secrecy and just kind of being okay with being a secret, male or woman. Like I hear
Yeah.
men are quick to be like, "I'll be boyfriend number 2," blah blah blah, and it's
No.
like, why would you want to be number 2?
Right. It's
Like
like
why?
crazy. And listen, I just don't listen. I don't get it. That's not my normal. I don't understand. Like
I'm
it's
too much. I'm too much for one person to share.
that, and I think my ego is too
Yeah.
big for me to be like one of several. Like I have
Yeah.
had heart to hearts and hard conversations with girlfriends who are like, I don't care if my man cheats. Like all men cheat. Like I don't care. As long as I don't find out, I don't really mind.
Oh
And my
no.
whole thing is like, I always ask them like, how does that make you feel? Like at the end of the day, like you don't feel good knowing that your man is out here fraternizing with whomever. Like it doesn't make you feel special. It doesn't make you feel adored, cherished, and that's all a need. Like even from a biblical perspective, like that is what a
Yeah.
man is supposed to do. So for me, I just like you said, like I don't get how people are so relaxed in that area. But if it works for you, hey.
We'll just keep on going after that one.
Listen, that's all we could do. We entangled.
Right. We try to get untangled actually. So let's go ahead and start off with like talking about our career, because I know so many women we want the love life and we want the career, but straight off the bat, for me at least, and a lot of other women, I can feel like I can say they focus on their career. They want to be excellent about what they do. They want to stand out. They want to grow. So what are some like tips you would give to maybe women in the industry who are kind of stuck in a place where they're trying to stand out, trying to make their work shown, and not even just shown, but appreciated enough to where they can elevate.
Absolutely. Great question. And I think overall, like, especially like in your 20s, like that is grind time. Like, yes, you know, finding that love of your life and starting a family is important, but I think in your younger years and in the early years of your career, you have to, when I think of you, what do I think of, right? So I need to know what you can bring to the table for me. So if you're an editor, be the best editor. If you're a writer, be the best writer.
Yeah.
Like, own your expertise and own your niche and brand yourself in that area. So as far as like being stuck in a rut and kind of maybe doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results and things aren't changing, I've definitely been there. Like, I was a sales assistant at ABC for maybe like 3.5, 4 years, never getting promoted, literally training people who were getting promoted ahead of me. Like, that was such a, you know, it killed my soul. One thing I would say, which I didn't know then that I know now that I wish I knew then, is that you have to be your biggest cheerleader, right? You can sit here and know that you're the best and you've come save the day and you've helped this person and you've, you know, helped this client and you've won that deal and you brought business for that. But unless your direct report manager knows that, it means nothing. So when you have your monthly check-ins, weekly check-ins, like, highlight your accomplishments, highlight the things that you've done that have brought revenue to the company. You know, why are you here? Why are you an asset? Why are you on my team? Like, push yourself to that next level in terms of highlighting your performance. So I definitely would say, you know, own your niche and highlight your performance, as well as what I did. I was like, okay, I've been a sales assistant for 3.5, 4 years. I'm not getting promoted. I'm getting overlooked. Kind of stick it to them where it hurts. Go get a job somewhere else. Like, I think gone are the times where it's like you stay at a company for 20 years and, you know, you retire from there. You can have multiple careers in this climate. You can work a 9 to 5 and then have a side hustle. Don't stay stuck where you are. You are the value. You are the asset. Go to where you're celebrated, not tolerated. So I knew that WebMD was the #1 leader in their field. They were, you know, the Google of healthcare. I would then go to digital, so I would learn a new skill set other than traditional TV. And it was hiring for a sales planner role, which is the next step in my, you know, career trajectory. So, and this is also very important. When you are excelling in your position, make sure you have those allies internally that can vouch for you to get you to the next level. And I say that because the person who got me over to WebMD was a former colleague of mine who was actually on another team, but he heard how well that I was doing. So when they needed to hire a sales planner, he shot my name in the room, so that way when I came in for the interview, the hiring manager was like, oh, I've heard really good things about you. They say that you excel in your job. You're really good at A, B, and C. And that's another way to kind of elevate. So long story short, he asked me if I'm looking to grow, asked me if I wanted to, you know, take a job here. Was like, absolutely, sent him my resume, gave the resume to hiring manager. Literally within the next day, they called me, went in for an interview and sold myself. Highlight what you're great at. Why do people like you? Why do you get deals done? How's your time management? You know, all of those things are very important when trying to close the deal and getting someone to, you know, push you and vouch for you to get to the next level. Sold myself on the job interview and literally got the offer the next day.
Yeah.
So I would definitely say overall, you know, highlight your skill set, push for yourself, be your own cheerleader, create allies, sell yourself on the job interview, and then also just don't be so focused, put your eggs in multiple baskets. Like, don't just limit yourself to the career that you are in. Yeah.
But I love what you said about being your own cheerleader, because I think for me, I've been in marketing for this will be my 5th year in marketing.
Wow.
So kind of starting out, um, like just being real, my dad helped me get to my first agency by having
Mm-hmm.
connection with the CEO. So that kind of helped me get in the front door. And there was an expectation because of how established my father is in the city. It was expected of I got to be excellent now because
Mm-hmm.
the CEO
Mm-hmm.
is my dad.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like I've always been excellent. I've always tried to make sure whatever I do put out, whatever I put my name on it, it's crisp, it looks good, and it will work.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
I've struggled with, I guess early out of the gate, maybe it was a little bit of me just feeling like I'm doing great. Why am I not moving up super fast? Why am I not getting to do more stuff super fast? But at the same time, I tried to remind myself that no matter where I was, it was my goal to be a sponge and take everything I could, knowledge, learn how to, what's the best event documents, what's the best client documents, what's the best way to
Mm.
talk to clients before I move
Mm.
on to my next journey. I
Mm-hmm.
think where I am now, I've had enough experience in entertainment marketing, um, entertainment publicity, digital marketing, and now content creation to kind of understand, like, if it's marketing, I can mold myself to fit whatever role I'm in. But I'm at the point
Absolutely.
in my life to where I know what I'm good at, and I also know what brings me joy.
Mm.
And for me, it's live events. It's creating experiences. I love, love, love taking a brand and taking this, like, a magazine brand. I worked with Essence a lot of times thus far in my career. So taking something like Essence and turning it into a My City Four Ways, or turning it into a
Mm.
little tastemaker event. I just
That's so, yeah.
revamping brands to like touch audiences.
That's
Love
awesome.
when people are able to connect with brands that they give their money to and have fun doing
Absolutely.
it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And for me, I have this inner battle going on. Is it, for me, I'm trying to figure out, you know, am I where God wants me and I'm just supposed to learn all these different things in marketing? Or can I say now, like, no, I want to do events, I want to do experiences, I want to create that.
Mm-hmm.
So I try not to close myself off, but I
Mm-hmm.
definitely know the type of person I am. I have to be passionate. I have to be
Mm-hmm.
involved.
Mm-hmm.
My hands have to be in it for me to see it come to life, for me to really understand. I'm like a hands-on type of learner. So when I'm in positions, marketing positions where I'm kind of hands off, more like a salesy role, or like kind of hands off on account management, I'm great at it, but it's not like where my heart is.
That makes sense.
So that's where I am in the marketing game.
And I think for you, and I wish I knew then what I knew now, do it now. Because I feel like the earlier you do it now, and because right now I'm pigeonholed. I'm 33. I've been in nothing but sales all my life. I tried to do brand side. I've always wanted to do brand marketing. And because my resume says screams sales,
Yeah.
unless I totally tweak it, which I would be lying, which I don't feel comfortable about lying,
Yeah.
I keep getting these sales leads, sales jobs. So my advice to my younger self would be to do it now and then brand yourself in where you see yourself, 10 to 15 years down the line. Because yeah, you're absorbing and you're, gaining on this expertise and knowledge. You've been in your role for over a year now. You pretty much as much as you know. Yes, you're always going to learn and evolve and grow.
Mhm.
But I think, you give that current position 6 months to a year, in terms of like whether or not you like it, and then you can go to what you want to do.
Yeah.
In terms of getting promoted, they say maximum 2 years in your role. But like I said, my younger self, I would have said, do what you want to do now, because tomorrow's never promised and life is short, and you want to start branding your resume overall to what you want to do.
Right. So for like, so we're in Atlanta, and Atlanta is Atlanta is it. Atlanta is a LA. It's a New York. It's where it's popping, really.
Mm-hmm.
So with so many people being creative, with so many Black creatives in Atlanta, how, I know for a fact that you do this very well, just way that you carry yourself. How do you play the networking game? Because I'm great at networking when it comes to being on site. If I'm at an event talking to people, yeah, let's connect, let's do all that. But when I'm fresh off the clock, about to go to like a happy hour, I'm like, I'm not finna talk to these people. I don't know what they do. Like,
Yeah.
how do you play that networking game, especially in a city like this, to where I don't want to say it's like make it or break it, but it's a lot of people who want to be in these industries, want to be in marketing,
Absolutely.
film, acting, modeling, all that. So how do you
Yeah.
kind of play it to your advantage to make yourself stand out?
For sure. Great question. I think overall, like I said in the beginning of our conversation, life is all about who you know and all about who knows you. Um, and I think that at the end of the day, every time I leveled up in my career, it was due to a connection, due to a relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Even in what I do in sales and selling business, like I pitched actually at Ideas United, I pitched Revolt TV to do their live event to film their conference for Ideas United to come in and do the production for that. And we actually lost the deal to one of Revolt's former clients that they worked with last year.
Mm-hmm.
So it goes back to the whole relationship. At the end of the day, people want to work with who they like and who they know.
Yeah.
If I don't know you and I've known Tiara for 50 years, I'm going to work with her off of, sweat equity and what's the word I'm looking for? It's like when you've been at somewhere for X amount of years.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna work with them because we have history. I know her how she is. I know her skill set. I know her work ethic. You see what I'm saying? So you have to take that mentality into networking. Whether it's you going online and researching a public relations meetup or the next NAMIC event or Women in Telecommunications Atlanta group, you need to be everywhere, especially when you're young. I've gotten invitations to go to the BET Awards and the MTV Awards and this, that, and the third, just because I was always at this event or I knew this person. So it's for your advantage.
Yeah.
Whether or not you like it, and I know tons of people who are the same way. They're like, I don't like to network. Like, it's boring to me. Yeah, but like you have to do what you have to do to get ahead. And I think what I loved most about New York, which I want to see more of here in Atlanta, in New York, it was go to work, go after work, go to happy hour, go out and hang out and party, go home, do it all over again. It was a constant out, grind. Here Atlanta is definitely more slower, more family oriented, so it probably doesn't have as much frequency as in New York. Mm-hmm. But I think, like you said, this is like the new LA. It has the makings of that with Tyler Perry Studios and, Turner Broadcasting and a lot of these smaller agencies or production companies like kind of wanting to be in the game. And I just think at the end of the day, you can be the smartest person and have 50 degrees, but if you don't know how to do the job, that doesn't mean anything to me.
Yeah.
So I just think that you kind of just got to bite the bullet and just go out and just talk to people. In terms of making yourself known, I think like I'm not shy. Like, hi, how are you? What do you do? In sales, they teach us find that common ground. did you guys go to the same college? Did your best friend go to their college? You
Yeah.
know, do they like to go to the Beltline after work? Do they like to read? What's the last movie that they like? Pick their brain. People love talking about themselves. Get them to open up. Find that thing that is going to connect you guys to build trust, to
Yeah.
then allow them to want to work with you, vouch for you, you know, sing praises about your name. That's all that networking is, and that's all overall that you have to do to, you know, get yourself recognized.
Yeah. And I think everything what you said, and I think a lot of it, well, for me, is just kind of like putting yourself out there and finding those conversation starters, finding that common ground, like what works for different people. Pretty much with you being in corporate for 10 years, and now you are starting your own beauty business and pastry business. How has that transition been? How have those, like, I know because we introduced them as like side hustles at first, and now it's like, this is what I do. This is what I'm leading with. How's that transition been for you?
So for me, like I said, I got laid off from my previous job, I want to say in October of last year, and then got another job, but like was only in that job for like 3 months. And then they actually they were a startup, so they had to downsize. And so I got, like, my group got dissolved. So I essentially got laid off of that. And then it was 2020, and then COVID hit. So for me, it was like a forced entrepreneurship. I think for me, what I loved most about being in corporate America is the consistency, and the fact that it was, you know, every 2 weeks I'm getting a check, right? With entrepreneurship, it was, I wouldn't say it was a seamless transition for me, but it was a understanding that I had, because I was in sales, which you have to go out and hunt and close business and brand yourself and market yourself. And I was consulting with so many small businesses. It was an easier transition for me because it seems more of what I was already doing, in terms of, you know, finding new business, you know,
Yeah.
finding customers, promoting my business, starting my YouTube channel, putting it on my social media. Like, half the people I got for Candied Creations was like, we love your marketing. Like, we love the way you showcased, you know, your peach cobbler on your page. So with that being said, I'm obviously so grateful for the 10 years that I had in corporate America, because I was able to take a lot of those skills and apply them to my business now. I think a lot of times, someone made a good comment. I was listening to a podcast yesterday. It's like, how do you expect to be an entrepreneur and you can't wake up and get to work on time? And like, that's so true. Like, yeah, you may not have a boss, you may not have a manager, you may not have colleagues and coworkers and people breathing down your neck, but you
Yeah.
still have to operate in excellence. Meaning you have to get up every day, you have to do research, you have to create a website, marketing materials, do Instagram, you know. I know for me, I'm motivated and I'm passionate, but I'm like, damn, I got to do another video today. Like,
Right.
for me, it's kind of like you have to be your own accountability partner,
Mhm.
because no one else is going to do it for you. And that's just the blessing with entrepreneurship, is because everything that the fruits of your labor are the input that you put into your business, right?
Yeah.
I remember out front, one of my managers is like, you're going to get out of this what you put into it. And at first I'm like, what the hell are you talking about? Like, what does that even mean? But it's so true. Like, I'm going to only be as successful as how much watering of the seed I put into my business. So if I'm having a lazy day and I just don't feel like doing my YouTube schedule for the month, like, my business is going to suffer.
Yeah.
So I think overall, you know, the transition has been seamless, I think, given the climate. And, you know, I feel like half of the battle with getting laid off is like, you're a little embarrassed and you're kind of like, damn, like, so-and-so still working or so-and-so has a job. Like for me, I'm kind of like, well, I was thinking about this on the way to Target today. I'm like, well, everyone is like suffering right now. So it kind of
Yeah.
makes me feel a little bit better. And I think I was also reading this thing where it's like during the Great Depression, like X amount of million businesses were started. And it's like, yeah, through adversity, trials, and tribulation, like your greatest blessing comes. So I think just embracing my passions and my purpose and what I love to do, and then incorporating and strategizing that into business has been kind of the glue that kind of keeps me together.
Nice.
And it's definitely not for the faint of heart. Like, I think you have to be consistent. You have to
Yeah.
find business, new leads, and you have to, put your stuff out there. Like, I can't buy something that I don't know exists. So
Yeah.
I would definitely say that.
Yeah, because when you say like if you want to be you want to have your own business, you can't be late for work. Because especially like with now with everything going on, we're working from home, so I have time to set my schedule. I'm not spending an hour getting to work, an hour getting home, an hour at the gym, and all of that. I have more time to be like, so Tier, what are you going to focus on? What are you going to do for yourself to create more avenues to be seen, to be
Mhm.
known and established?
Mhm.
And I think with like the podcast, people may say like, oh, you want to be a personality or you want to be a beauty influencer with YouTube. And I don't know, I wouldn't put a name on it quite yet, but I definitely know right now what I'm doing, I'm interested in. And
Mhm.
I think more so than having a podcast or having a YouTube channel, I'm interested in connecting, and I'm interested in positive conversation for knowledge and for growth.
Mhm.
And that's something that I can't do right now. Like I love going to events and doing events. That's like my side hustle for outside
Mhm.
of my full-time agency. It
Mhm.
is on the weekends, I'll go help you with this event for 2-3 days. I'll be
Mhm.
there after work and help you with that.
Mhm.
But more so than anything, I love to connect.
Mhm.
Just because of the personality that I feel like I have. I'm very, very open to people and open to level setting and understanding people.
Mhm.
So with the podcast, I'm able to talk to dope ass girls around the country. And we have that moment to say, like, I'm not the only one out here trying to get it. I'm not the only person who's trying to be my own boss and not create
Mhm.
a name or create a lane for myself.
Mhm.
Like, I have no idea where this whole setup will go, but I am manifesting Angelique's little setup with August. I was like, I need that for Young
Yeah.
Monarchs. So wherever we go, I'm down for it. But I definitely just love the fact of creating space for yourself, even if like this is not in marketing, but I'm able to use my public relations degree, my marketing degree to promote a message,
Mhm.
to create a brand.
Mhm.
And really, I feel like for marketers, it's really like our final exam to see if can you take your knowledge and make yourself known with your own brand instead of
Mhm.
pumping up brands that are already here.
Exactly.
And I feel like that's where all of our knowledge and our experience, we put all that into this, and then we become the revolts and the whatever we want to be.
Exactly.
So I wanted to share for the Get Your Head in the Game segment. I know you have a story and pretty much how, kind of like your knowledge on how to get promoted, go where you're celebrated, and really bet on yourself. So if you want to
Mhm.
go ahead and tell that story, we can do that now.
Yeah, for sure. So I think for me, like my biggest career jump was when I transitioned from WebMD in New York to an account executive role here in Atlanta at Outfront Media Group.
Mhm.
Specifically because the account executive role is like very much so the highly coveted role. It is not only a career jump in terms of responsibility, but definitely monetarily. Like it takes you from, just double digits to six figures. And it's a lot of responsibility. So I think number one, you have to do the mental and spiritual preparation for that. Did you, number one, like, did you ask God for the promotion? Because, even in the scripture, like, promotion comes from above. It doesn't come from the east or west. It comes from, God Almighty. Like, he's the one who sets you on a rock and places you to that next level. Um, you know, Analyze yourself. Like, are you equipped for what you're really asking for? Like,
Yeah.
I know a lot of times where people are like, oh, I want to have the job, the house, the husband, the kids, the car. Like, if God gave that to you today, like, would you have the ability and responsibility to manage and steward what you're asking for? So I think the preparation is definitely one of the, key points I would say in getting promoted.
Yeah.
And what I will say, and I felt that I was going to get promoted, thank God for New York. Thank God for that hustle, that grit, that grind, that go get it attitude. I took that mindset and adapted it to Atlanta, and it showed. Like, I truly felt that when I got that AE role here in Atlanta, I was truly that big fish in the small pond. And, I was not shy. I was talking in meetings. If someone didn't know anything, I helped them. If my boss, my boss is like, so digital marketing is very like, it's been around for a while, but a lot of people don't know about it.
Yeah.
I was that expert. So find that niche and that lane within your role of what no one else can do and be the best at it. Be the go-to. Like, I remember even in a meeting, this guy, one of the marketing executives, like, he was so arrogant, so cocky. And I'm like, oh, you need third-party data and tracking systems to figure out the impressions. Like, speaking out the digital language. And he looks at me, he's like, you don't know what you're talking about. And I was like, do I not know, or do you not know what I'm talking about? So really having that knowledge and capability and pushing yourself to be comfortable in, being that expert within your field. And you get to a point, especially right when you're about to be promoted, what you're doing already is just too easy, right? It's a breeze. You can do it in your sleep. You're not feeling challenged. And I remember the day, like, three of my bosses were in my one boss's office, and he brought me in and he goes, we think that you're ready for the next level. We think that you're able to, be a national account executive. And, they're like, you have the personality for it. You're wise, you're knowledgeable, you're hardworking. They're like, are you ready for this next challenge? And I'm like, yes, absolutely. So, seizing that opportunity when it presents itself, and then excelling in that role too. And I just took it and ran with it. I became my boss's right-hand man. Anytime he needed to take a client on a ride, which is like, we're showcasing our inventory to a client, I volunteered. I was like, I'll do it. I then, took that responsibility from him. And I was like the only one who was taking clients for, rides and whatnot. Bending over backwards for my client. I know, especially in sales, like, that's a part of the job. I know it's like kind of annoying, but like, one of the guys that I was working with wasn't vibing with the client, and the client like requested to work with another rep. And then my boss was like, well, we know Erica will take care of her, and like totally knocked it out of the park, was personable and catered to her needs and make sure that she had everything she wanted. So overall, just being like really excellent in what you do, and people will recognize it, combined with being your biggest cheerleader. And then, like I said, just doing great at your job, you're going to get promoted. And if that company can't see your greatness, then again, go somewhere where you're celebrated.
Yeah. I think that's awesome, because when I feel like that kind of sums up kind of how to boss up in your career to, like, once you realize that every day you have to put your best foot forward, every day you have to be excellent. And when you do that for 6 months to a year and you realize, like, okay, I know I'm excellent, I know what I'm doing is great, but the people around me don't know that I'm doing great. that I'm doing, what I'm doing is great. And it kind of hits your ego, but at the same time, you just have to realize that, you know, there's somebody for everybody, and this just may not be where you are supposed to be, and that may be why you're not being celebrated, why you're not being promoted. Because God is like, this is done just not for you, so I don't want to make you comfortable to think like this is it when it's not it.
Right. It's just a stop along the way.
Yeah.
That's
so
awesome.
Now to boss up in our relationships.
We got to boss up. Let's get it.
So I'm just going to go ahead and say, I don't know if I've ever talked about this, but I'm in my very first relationship.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
Yeah. So like before, college was just like entanglements. That's what you could call them. We was in entanglements all college. And so now I'm learning so much with this being my first relationship, but even being able to say like I have dated other men that are completely different in every way than my current boyfriend makes my first and hopefully only relationship real smooth, because I am with someone that is a little bit older than me, a lot more mature than me, and very open, very confident in who he is. So he's able to kind of help me be confident in who I am, but also give me the freedom to still figure out, you know, who I am, what I want, where I want to go. So I feel like God gave me a good one with that.
Amen, sis.
I was able to see like through just entanglements and being like, this is not it. Like, you cannot be it for me.
Right.
But I know we want to start off by kind of talking about just understanding that we as women are the prize. We are the creators. We are the nurturers. And I feel like in dating other people, I knew and I felt like I was it. Like, regardless of if you wanted to accept it or not, like I was the best you gonna get, honey. And a lot of the time it was when like dating through college, it was when I realized that in the entanglement, I was like, you're not gonna get no better than this, so I'm out of here. Right. Forget what you have to say, forget what you're talking about, forget what you're doing. And I saw so much more power in myself when I was just kind of like, you can do you. I'm gonna be great here regardless.
Amen. Yeah.
So like just understanding that you're the prize, and even what are some like, how do you talk about expectations and just establishing rules of the game before you play? Like, do you kind of give me some tea there?
Yeah, for sure. So I'm going to hit on 2 points that you said. So I loved how you said that you are the prize. I think even as per my experience through my entanglements, you know, whether it be, you know, I'll give a little bit of history about myself. So my parents were never married. You know, my parents had me in college. My mom had me at like 22. Dad was 24. So they were very young. Dad lived here in Atlanta. My mom raised me in Chicago. So though I had my grandfather as a father figure, I think a lot of the entanglements and the overgiving that I gave in relationships was due to the fact that daddy wasn't there, right? And I think through my journey of femininity and learning about the dynamics between a man and a woman, he is the hunter, he is the pursuer, he is here to close the deal. You are the prize. I know a lot of times when men and women hear that, they're like, well, I'm a prize too. Yeah, I mean, it's a prize, but you are to be won. So understanding that you're the prize, again, you are the one that he needs to pursue. You are the deal he's going to close. You are to be the feminine in the relationship. You need to be open and vulnerable to receive from him. I think especially as Black women, we're kind of like go-getters and aggressors, and if you ain't gonna do it, I'll do it. Like, I don't need a man. And I think that's counterproductive in our journey to femininity and to, motherhood and being nurturers, because we're taking on those masculine traits.
Uh-huh.
So I think in that aspect, even in my journey, I've had to do a lot of growing and had to teach, unlearn, to relearn, and give myself knowledge
Yeah.
to be successful in my relationships. I think, back to daddy issues, I think in the past I always overcompensated in certain areas, whether it's like I knew my family back in Chicago was well off, so I came from money. So either I always paid for the man, or I would always date down, or I necessarily didn't see myself as a prize. It was more of a partnership. And even, some women in my family, I'm not going to name names, are like, well, you got to meet a man halfway. And it's like, no, I don't need to meet a man halfway. I'm the table. You need to bring something to my table. And if you can't take care of me, what makes me think that you're going to take care of my children, our children, and build a life? A man's job is to provide and protect. And if he's not doing that, that's an issue. And with that being said, a man who really wants you doesn't want to lose you to any other man. So he's going to do what it takes to lock you down.
Yeah.
And then, like you said, as far as the expectations, for sure. I mean, that I wish I knew then what I knew now. In my past, kind of just always went into situationships, relationships, very hopeful, glass half full. I always used to say I always used to assume that people were raised how I was raised.
Yeah.
And that was my biggest downfall, because not everyone is raised how you were raised. And I thought overall that a man wants what's best for you and is going to give you the best. And that is the furthest thing from the truth. Men truly want one thing, and it's not until you can kind of pull that out of them that they're going to want other things. So I think, you don't go on your first date telling him that you want to marry him, but you may say, yes, I want to be a wife one day, yes, I want to be a mother one day. No, I don't want us to just kind of be hooking up. I know a lot of times I was watching this one thing, and this woman's like, yeah, he strung me along for 10 years. I thought I was going to get a ring. I never got a ring. First of all,
the love in hip hop has got to end.
Well, number one, ain't no man gonna string me along for 10 years. I'm gone after 2 years. Hello? Number two, you can't be strung along unless you allow it. You ain't gonna, and she was pregnant with his child. We're not gonna play house and you not give me what I need. And that's, again, understanding you're the prize, you're the deal that needs to be closed. You are the one that he needs to bring value to your table, because it's already lopsided, because women are already nurturing and givers and lovers. And it's that's our natural inclination, because we're supposed to be mothers. So because we don't necessarily establish the rules of the game, we oftentimes lose the game. At the game, and then realizing it is a game. Life is a game. Therefore, relationships are a game. Dating is a game. Setting your standards high, being high value, and never folding are all expectations that I would say are in the beginning of the relationship.
I learned, I think one thing that I can say I've learned from just dating through college, I kind of have always been a go with the flow type of girl. Whatever the homegirls want to do, I'm down, let's just go. So I kind of, and I'm just naturally laid back. So in situationships throughout college, I think that was taken advantage of. That kind of oh, she's chilling, she cool.
Mm-hmm.
She's not gonna turn up, or she's not gonna go crazy.
Mm-hmm.
But I kind of think that created something in me to where I started to give men in my life, I would say every man in my life got a cup. You got a cup. And all your bullshit went in the cup. But when the cup was full, we're done. We're not going backwards. You filled your cup up, sir. You only get one cup. And I think that is where I kind of messed up, because I would be so chill, so laid back until that cup was overflowing.
Right.
And then they would be like, oh, this is not the same bitch I was just with.
Right.
weeks ago.
Right.
And then, but by that time, it's kind of like, I do try to be so respectful, so calm, so relaxed to where when your cup overflows, you're not going to get the same tear. You're going to get the tear like I'm meeting you off the street and it's that time. Like, I don't care how you feel. I don't care. Like, it's over with.
Right.
And I think that is something I kind of took my niceness and kind of created that format for men to where I've learned with the guy I was dating before my boyfriend now, it was just kind of like, I'm not doing that no more. Like, I'm not going to give you a cup and let you fill it with bullshit.
Right.
I'm tired of it, you know?
Right.
I'm going to, the first bullshit you put in the cup, we're going to address it.
Right.
So you know that there's a cup here. You still get a cup, but I'm addressing each piece of bullshit you put in it.
Right.
Because just to kind of create that boundary and let people know, like, yes, I am nice, but it is not to be taken advantage of.
Right.
Especially when it comes to me just being kind of like a sensitive woman. I am very caring. I am very just invested in whomever I'm with. So it's kind of like I found myself in college just getting to a point where it was like, oh, it's time to fight. Like, you want to fight or you want to let's be done with it. And I kind of got to a point where I'm just going to let you know what I'm not going to deal with. And if it ever comes a time to where, you know my expectations and you do something that is not okay with me, you just got to go then. Because I've noticed, I'm sure like women in general and guys too, you notice like once you kick somebody to the curb,
they come
how
running back,
like how on your ass they will be. And I feel like that's kind of where my ego is satisfied with leaving guys, because every single time it showed me that I was exactly who I needed to be for any type of man. You just weren't the man for me. And that's why you're on my coattails. That's why you're trying to get back in.
Right.
But you've already kind of lost that opportunity. To what you said about 10 years, I'm not. I can't do it.
No, it ain't happening.
Yeah, like I feel like there's a limit on everything. And especially for men know what they want, regardless of if they're going to tell you or if they're not going to tell you. They know what type of woman they want. They know what type of where they are in their journey of dating and finding a wife. And even if they want a wife or not, they know what they want. And it's just a matter of, are you that? And not getting your feelings involved when that's not the case anymore.
Exactly.
Because I can't do it 10 years.
Hell no. And then to your point, how you said, I'll stay pretty much until that cup runneth over. Where do you think, even from a societal perspective, like, women are taught, like, be a ride or die, be loyal, like, you see this trending on Instagram now, like, women deserve to be loved without suffering first. Like, why do you think as women, number one, we allow it because a man can only do to what you allow, and then two, why that narrative is even pushed? Like, you see what I'm saying? Like, where did it stem from, basically?
I feel like it's got to be a mixture of just, if you look at, for me personally, my parents were married until I was 18 and they got separated. So when they got separated and when they divorced, I went to college, but I understood what was going on. I understood the reasons. I understood the whole breakdown of what was happening. So it hit me a little different because I was aware of the why. And then just looking and hearing stories, I was always quiet. So I'm always not like intentionally eavesdropping, but I'm not talking, so I can hear everything. And I would just hear my aunts just have these crazy ass stories. Like, I have aunts that have dated and married NBA players, dated rappers, fluent men, and things like that. And I just hear my older aunts saying, like, if I had to do it again, I would not do it this way. And I think that hit me when I was in college, just hearing older women who I looked up to saying, like, if I had to do it again, I wouldn't do it the same way. I wouldn't go for the bullshit. I wouldn't be the ride or die. And I think that was kind of what put it in my head to be like, I deserve to be happy. I deserve to be loved the way I want to be loved, respected the way I want to be respected, treated the way I want to be treated. And at the same time, we're consumed in like hip hop culture. So you hear rappers, hear the affluent saying, "Oh, she's my ride or die, ride or die." What are we riding and dying for? I'm not dying if you ain't really riding, because I feel like it has to be a two-way.
You ain't riding or dying for me,
right? Like
because you fucking Keisha and you with me.
Like, you got to be in Keisha's car too,
right?
And I think for me, I define my ride or die as like, if you respect me, if you're giving me what I need, if you're being the man that I expect you to be and that I know you truly are, then I can ride through career struggles. I can ride through lows and highs of, our own like battles we have within ourselves, getting to where we want to in our career. But when it comes to infidelity, when it comes to lying, I can't ride or die for someone that has secrets that I just don't know about.
Right.
Whereas I love the fact that I feel like in my relationship now, we're very open. We're very able to talk about whatever it is on our minds. So I can say, like, I can ride or die for you because I know what's going on. But if I ever felt like I don't know what's going on, or if I ever felt like there were secrets or anything like that, I can't ride for you because I don't know what I'm riding for.
Exactly.
I'm not saying I'm this type of woman, but for women who are okay with what you were said earlier, like, oh, he can cheat on me, he can do whatever. If I know and I'm aware and I'm okay with it, I can ride or die for that if I'm okay with it. But if I have no idea what you're doing and things hit the fan, if things get on the tabloids, in the news, and I have no idea where this came from, I have no idea what these stories are about, and you're with me every day, like we are together or married or whatever, I cannot ride for things that I just don't know about. And I think that's where I personally draw the line at lies and secrets. I can ride or die for anybody if I know what we riding and dying for. But if I don't know, it's kind of like, you in the news, that's personal. That's your problem. You got a baby, that's your problem. You got to figure that out. It has nothing to do with me. I'm your girlfriend, I'm your wife, your baby mama, whatever. If I don't know about it, it's personal. Obviously, because you never told me. That's a ride or die problem you're going to have to figure out on your own. And that's my ride or die definition. I can't go all the way, but I can die for you if we riding together and I know what's going on. But if it's something that's out of the blue and it's a problem for you now, and it's like seeping over into my life, that's personal. You got to deal with that.
I agree. 100%. You hit the nail on the head.
So what is it like? So with like bossing up in our relationships, and let's talk about just like the seduction, mystery, being unavailable. I can say for me, one thing that I guess guys have told me, like, oh, I just can't read you very well. Or you don't talk a lot, so I don't know your vibe. I don't know what you want, what you don't want. I've enjoyed that because it's like, you don't need to know what I want.
Right. They're unboxing you and then they're investing more in you, which will lead to a long-term benefit.
Yeah. But I know just in general, the seduction part is something that I fail at just because first of all, I'm very laid back and I'm too goofy to where my seduction just comes off as like, girl, get out of here. Like, go put your clothes back on. We ain't gonna do this right now.
And like seduction doesn't always have to be sexual. It could be being coy and being funny and being
Mm-hmm.
flirty and drawing him in. I think
Mm-hmm.
that's more so the seducing part of it.
Mm-hmm.
Let a man be a man and let a woman be a woman. I think, a lot of times, like when in my younger years, I used to wear my heart on my sleeve. I was too open. I was too forward. I didn't reserve my special feelings for my boyfriend. I would always kind of do a deep dive with the man that I was, dating at the time, and it
Mm-hmm.
always came to bite him in the butt. Men like to hunt. Like that is their nature. That is in their DNA. So if you show the man all of your cards, he knows your name, where you live, your mama name, you want to get married, how many kids you want to have, it takes away from the excitement of wanting to get to know you and shortens the dating process.
Yeah.
So the goal is to have a man invest in you.
Mm-hmm.
Men overall, they're not emotional creatures. We're emotional creatures. So for instance, even with my boyfriend and I, it took him longer to like me when I knew instantly off the bat that I liked him and I wanted to be with him.
Mm-hmm.
Like, truth be told, he was like even still dating other people when we first started dating. And then I found out, I was like, you gotta cut that shit out. Like, otherwise,
Facts. It's like, what do
but
you want, sir?
right. I think for men, they love the chase. They love to get to know you. So if you sit here and you're not mysterious, you're not alluring, you tell them all your business, tell them why you're getting into it with so and so and you hate such and such, it's just like a turn off. And the goal is to, get him to win you over. Men will play you if you allow it. So don't get too comfortable too soon. Don't allow a man to have leverage over you. Allow him to invest in you mentally, financially, and emotionally. Like, allow him to pursue you. You want to be courted. These are old school terms, but I think they apply and they need to be implemented, especially in today's time with instant gratification. You can go on
Yeah.
Bumble and Tinder and all these things and find a new boo. Like, allow him to want you. A man is not going to leave a quote unquote investment that he's put time, money, and effort into. For instance, if a man is paying on a car note for 2 years and it only is going to take him 6 months to pay it off, he's not necessarily going to turn it in and get a new car. He's going to still invest in that car, and that's what you want a man to do for you. Be unavailable, be a challenge. Don't be too eager. If you have plans with your girlfriends, stick with those plans. I know in my younger years, like I'd be so excited that a man calls me on a Friday night and he'll be like, "Are you free?" And I'm like, "Yeah, sure." No, like you cannot make plans with me day of and then expect me to be available for you. Like even if I don't have other plans, lie and say you do. Like a man wants a challenge. He wants a woman who's unattainable. It increases your value. Like look, and I didn't never looked at it as just like basic like economic supply and demand. If you are the Ferrari of women, like you're not going to be accessible to a Honda buying ass nigga. Like you gonna, he gonna have to stack his coins to be with you, honey. Like that's the mentality you have to have. And I think as Black women, especially since we're like the least is desirable and the least chosen and got to put up with the bullshit, I think a lot of times we kind of fold and like lessen our standards just to get the guy, and then we cling on to him, and then we don't continue to have our hobbies and continue to live our own lives and be all up under him. Like, truth be told, I was so ready for my man to leave today. I was like, you are just annoying me. Like, go home. Like, we are, especially you're in quarantine, I was like, we together too much. Like, go home. Like, and I love me time. And we're going to dive into femininity next, but I'm just like, that's a part of being femininity, loving on yourself, loving what you do, doing podcasts, doing video tutorials. Like, it is lifting my spirit and my vibration to do the things that I love, which then in turn is going to feed the relationship. So, overall, be alluring, be seductive, don't be too available, and be a challenge. It's definitely keys to bossing up in your relationships.
And then when you talk about femininity, I think for me personally, I'm like just now kind of embracing everything that comes with me as a woman. Simply because I was raised very like, I don't know if traditional is the word. I was just raised very, you cover up. Like you don't show the curves, you don't show any of that. So I was always into makeup, loved makeup since high school. So makeup was definitely a thing that where I was like, oh, I feel pretty doing makeup and all of this. But now I'm at a point in my life where I want to and I do embrace my body because I don't feel like, well, in the South, we're taught like, cover up, be a lady, blah, blah, blah. But at the same time, I feel like as a woman, you should be able to say like, actually, no, I love the way that God has made this woman's body, and I'm going to, show it in my own way in my cute little dresses, not be out here butt ass naked, but embrace what is given to you, embrace the way that you look, embrace your physique. And I think that for me is a big part of my femininity journey now. Just embracing that more, because I feel like when I'm able to beat a face, do my hair, and be comfortable in the body that God's given me, and not be so afraid of like, don't show it off. Like, don't like just cover up. For me, that's been a block for my femininity because I am so curvy. I feel like I'm one of the baddest peaches. I don't know. But it's like I want to embrace the way that God made me, because I'm learning like a woman's body is everything. And a Black woman's body is even better. So like, what do you want?
Absolutely. And I couldn't agree with you more. I was raised similarly. If anything, I was raised to be alpha. I was raised to be go get it, hustle, be aggressive, be loud, be outspoken, like everything anti-femininity. And then in terms of just like, I've always been into makeup. I've always been into how I dress and how I look. So that kind of stuck with me. But like you said, I haven't always embraced just like my features. Like, we'll go on Instagram right now and see so many women who are super comfortable in their skin, in their bikinis, in their bathing suits, posing, being very seductress, being very feminine. And like, I agree with you. That's not always been something I've been comfortable with, and I'm learning to do it more and more each day. But I think overall, what attracts a man to a woman is everything that a man is not.
Yeah.
So when he's strong, you're soft. When he's aggressive, you're still and more laid back. When he is a provider and a protector, you're a lover and you're nurturing. So I think overall, I agree. Like how I was raised, I don't need a man. Like every woman in my family is divorced. And like I'm trying to change the generational curse and really embed into my daughter, hopefully, how to be a lady, how to be feminine, how to, and I don't feel like this should not be said, but I was not taught how to, date and be in a relationship. And I didn't, again, like my family taught me, oh, you got to meet a man halfway. No, you don't. You allow a man to give you, the lifestyle you deserve. Yeah, know how to manage a checkbook and know how to manage your finances and kind of have your own safety net. But, let a man be a man. Like that's what he is attracted to. 9 times out of 10, when a man cheats on you, he cheats down.
Yeah.
And that's because she made him feel like a man. Don't take his position. Don't belittle him. Don't embarrass him in public. Allow him to speak. Don't overtalk him. Don't swear. I mean, we can do a whole, podcast on, what it means to be a woman. What I would like to highlight is, what I talked about earlier, know how to receive, know how to be still, know how to be soft. Invest in your appearance, whether it's getting a trainer, working out, loving on yourself, be nurturing, compassionate. Smell good, Yes, honey. And then be anti-man. So don't be overly self-reliant. Don't be loud, aggressive, bossy. Do not be controlling. Like I used to be controlling. You can't do this. You can't hang out with this person. I don't want you hanging out with that person. And when I dig deep down inside, it was because ultimately I was afraid. I was afraid of, him cheating or, him not giving me the attention that I wanted. And that is just an insecurity that I had to overcome.
Yeah.
And then don't be drama filled. I know specifically in my journey and all last year, I did like a huge cleanup on friends. And, as hard as it was, and, especially being a Spelman woman, we're taught to be sisterly and always be there for your sister and, family goes to things. But I'm like, at the end of the day, I just met your ass at 18. You know what I mean? Like, I don't care what college we went to and what they instilled in us. If you're a drama-filled person, if you're toxic, if you're bringing drama to my life and messing up the ebbs and flows of my life, you gotta go. And I've had to cut off very close friends of mine, just for those very reasons. And it's just benefited my relationship tremendously. Like, I would say I cleared out at least 98% of my BS, and like the 2% that I may vent to my boyfriend about and talk to him on a day to day, like he'll be like, ugh, like I don't want to hear it, just figure it out. In my mind, I'm like, damn, like that's only 2% of my shit. Like I couldn't imagine bringing the 98 to
Yeah.
the table. Like you wouldn't be here, like. And it's just as simple as like if I'm talking about so and so every 5 minutes, like he's thinking like, well, why are you still friends with that person?
Yeah.
Because men are like super logical, and it's like
Yeah.
with women, like even one of my best friends, this my little gay friend, he's like, don't be friends with girls just because of history. And like that's what I would do. Like I would be friends with you, because we grew up together, and I'm gonna see you on Thanksgiving, and we're back at home together. And it's like, I really had to do that evaluation of like, is this person really for me? When I, reach my goals and my milestones, are they clapping for me? Are they hating? Like,
Yeah.
are they backbiting? Are they saying things behind my back that like, I told them in confidence? Like, you have to always do inventory on your life. And that's just a part of femininity as well.
Yeah. I agree with you when you say men are so logical and they don't want to hear the drama, because I went through the same thing at the very beginning of my relationship, dating into a relationship to where there was just so much going on with my friend group. I was just like, I don't understand, like I want to feel supported. I want people to be happy. Like I want the people that I'm happy for to be happy for me. And it was constant like, oh, she's not doing this, or this is how and this is going. And he's just like, okay, why are you friends? Stop talking to them. Like, and I think
So cut and dry.
right, like so straight, so make it so easy. Like, okay, so why are you friends with them? And I think that takes us to like how communication is key. And I really appreciate just men in general for being that logic, being that I don't know, like there's various types of men, but my boyfriend is very like, let's just talk about it. And when we talk about it, let's not put our emotions in it. Let's be logical about what are we talking about and what is our goal.
Right.
Because if we're just talking in circles and talking with our emotions, we're not figuring out the actual problem to fix.
I agree with that.
And I really admire how men are just so straightforward and like, this isn't working. Or, well, why are you doing this? And I think to take on over like the last thing of bossing up in your relationship, everybody says communication is key, but I genuinely feel like with women being so emotional, feeling so heavily, we have to talk about the way we feel and the things that are going on in our head, even if like our significant other may not understand where we're coming from. Because if I'm coming super sensitive, super emotional, and he's coming just logical, you're
not speaking the same language.
Right. Yeah. Like we're not speaking the same language, but if somebody is speaking like logically, they can help me sift through like my emotions to figure out what what is the deep meaning of everything that
Mm.
you're feeling? What is
Mm-hmm.
it that you're
Mm-hmm.
going through? And I
Yeah.
really admire that communication in relationships.
And I agree with that 110%. Like, what I really liked about what you said earlier and you touched on briefly just now is that this is the first relationship you've had where you've actually been able to communicate and you work through your issues. And like you said, your boyfriend's like, well, let's just like fix the problem. I would agree with that. I think, though I've had serious boyfriends in the past, my boyfriend currently is the very same way as your boyfriend. Like, we talk about our problems. Like, if there's an issue, we lay it out there, and even like as simply as what is an example? Like, he'll be like, I'll say something and he'll be like, well, that's not that big of a deal. And I'll sit here and say, well, it hurts me when A, B, C, and D. So by you saying it's not that big of a deal, that hurts me too. And then he like gets it. So like I think overall, when someone says communication is key, it also equals people don't know what they don't know.
Yeah.
And a lot of times we make assumptions with our partner and then take it and formulate this whole scenario in our heads that A, may not be true, and B, where you're trying to hold them accountable for something that like they're not even aware of. So I think communication is key in the sense of like always talk out your issues, always let your partner know how you feel and how what they do makes you feel. And then always strive to be on the same page.
Yeah.
And then with that being said, I think overall accountability is key. Like if, we say, hey, like for instance, like this new thing is like, now that I've decorated my place and it's like a lot more homey, like my boyfriend comes to my house a lot. And like before I used to always come to his house. And my whole thing is like throughout all quarantine, he's probably here like 4 days a week. 4 days of the week. And so my newest thing is like, look, like you've been a quote unquote guest in my home for 3 months now. It's now going on 4 or 5 months. Like you need to like yesterday, like we had taco night, like you can help me clean up. Like
Yeah.
and I had to like in my head, I'm like, why isn't he just like offering to clean up? And then in his head, he's probably like, well, this is her home. She's a woman. She's, takes care of that. But I'm like, I had to communicate to him like, hey, babe, like, now that you're here more, like, I just want you to help out around the house. Like, I don't want to have to take on all the responsibility and all the load and like then be resentful or mad at you because you're not helping me. And I think for all that just leads back into communication. Like if I didn't express that to him and then I took it and ran with it and then it was upset, like I'm only hurting myself, thus hurting the relationship.
Yeah.
And then a part of that overall again is like the accountability portion. So then hold him accountable. So you said what you said on this date, like is he then following up and doing the actions? It's like work. It's so sad, but it's like work. But
Yeah.
like is he following up and doing the actions to correct his behavior? So I think overall that's like the keys to communication and happiness in your relationship.
True. I love this. I feel like every episode I'm like, I love this episode. I love
Aww,
this
I
conversation.
love it too. It seems so organic and like it's almost like healing in a sense because it's like going over your life and being able to like drop these gems and like give advice that you wish you heard along
Yeah.
the way, I think is the biggest blessing, especially now due to technology and people are all about like manifestation and owning who you are and being transparent. Like I love like things like this.
Yeah. So let's go ahead. So our next segment is the Get Your Life segment. And it's kind of like that more transparency. We share one thing in our journey, either from bossing up in relationships to bossing up in our career, one thing that's going well, and then one thing that we're still struggling with.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess we can go with our strengths first. One thing that one thing that I am succeeding with um, in relationships and my career is just being more of a communicator, making sure when it comes to my supervisor or my boyfriend, just being open about what I expect
Mm-hmm.
and kind of how I see things. like in my career, I said will have conversations like, hey, I just want to make sure I'm meeting expectations. Is this what is still expected of me? In my relationship, I'm able to be like, to your point of like, can you help me clean up? I'm able to say like, okay, let me take my emotions out of it and just be like, hey, like we just cooked, or we just like destroyed the house. Let's just go ahead and spend 30 minutes to an hour together. Like, let's just straighten up and move on to what we were doing. I'm able to be more logical, and I'll give that to my boyfriend because that was not me before. So I'll give him that one. What's one thing that's going well in your journey?
I would kind of piggyback off of what you said, but I think overall, like just me actually getting what I want in terms of just like overall happiness. Like for me, like I actually did a vision board before I met Jonathan of like all the qualities that I wanted in a man, and I would say like he hit like 9 out of 10. So overall, just like the fact that like he comes from a good family and he has a good head on his shoulders, he's ambitious, he's driven, he takes care of me, like he'd be like, here, babe, here money for your nails. Like, got me shoes the other day. I was like, thank you, babe. Like, I finally am getting what I wanted out of a relationship. And I'm not even just talking about monetarily, but just like overall. And I'm like truly happy. And then like traveling and us growing together and us like just taking the next step. Like whether it's like he met my family for the first time like last month when he came to Chicago. Like, so I would say overall like bossing up of like actually getting what I want. I feel like Black women especially, it's like we always have to put up with that one thing that just like pisses us off, and we're like ultimately like not happy. And I can genuinely say like I'm truly happy in my relationship.
Yeah.
And then as far as my career, I think it's like kind of the same thing. Like I'm actually doing what I want to do. I think a lot of times like you just take a job to do a job, to have a job, to say you have a job for the money, and you're not happy at what you're doing. I think like I can genuinely say I wake up and I enjoy what I do. Like I'm on my social media, I'm cooking, I find joy in cooking, I'm posting like my meals, I'm strategizing and thinking of like new ideas I want to put on my YouTube channel, like decorating my home, like truly enjoy that. Like gonna now work on my office space so I could have like my beauty room and my filming room. I think overall, like if I were to do like the chapter, what's the chapter of this what is the name of this chapter in my book? It would just be like true joy and happiness. So I think overall just like bossing up and like the year of 33, like just doing what I want to do, like cut the bullshit out. Like it's not going to be tomorrow. It's not going to be a year from now. It's not going to be 2 years from now. Do what you want to do now.
Yeah. One thing I'm still working on, I think it will have to be just overall in career and relationships, my femininity, and really being able to own who I am, mentally, spiritually, physically. I've always been told from my dad, like working in marketing as a woman, especially as a Black woman, people will look at you and see how well you take care of yourself. And if they don't feel like you can take care of yourself very well, they're not going to think you can take care of their business or their brand. Real. So I think I'm getting to the point in my life where I like told my boyfriend, like, do not propose to me until I am in shape, until I wear where I want to be for photos.
Stop.
I was like, I need somebody in the bushes and I need to be where I want to be. So I think that is kind of what I'm doing now, just taking better care of my physical, to be able to walk in a room and people know off top, like, oh, she's it, because she takes care of herself, because of the way she carries herself. Doesn't matter what comes out of her mouth, she's got it.
Right. I love that.
And that's what I'm working on.
Oh, go girl. That's for you in your journey. Go ahead. I think I think overall what I hear, the push or the things that I need to work on from my boyfriend, what I hear him say a lot is kind of like Like, I'm a northern girl at the end of the day. Like, and with that, it ties into femininity. Like, I'm kind of like in your face. I tell it like it is. Like, if I don't like something, I say it. I think with him, it's not what I'm saying it's how I'm saying it, and then how I'm making him feel.
Yeah.
So I think that's one thing I want to boss up in my relationships is, like, to your point, like, just being more feminine in my approach, like, in how I'm making him feel. Like, we'll get into fights and, like, he'll be like, well, I just didn't like the way you said this. And then, you know, in my head, I'm like, listen, we from up north. Like, this is how we talk. Like,
Get
we're a
out your
little bit
feelings,
more,
boy.
right. Like, we're a little bit more hard. So I think, you know, and he was born and raised in Atlanta. So I think I need to just kind of, like, adjust. You know, and that's going to take time because it's like a lot of unlearning. So that's one thing I would like to kind of boss up in my relationship. And then as far as my career, I would definitely say, like, growing my brand. So the overall, so, like, doing more things like this, like podcasts and interviews, and having people know who I am, and, like, being the expert. So, like, people coming to me for, like, advice on, you know, fashion and makeup
Yeah.
and beauty, and people coming to me for, like, cakes. Like, a lot of my sales now are, like, referrals, and I thank God for, you know, my network and things like that. But I really just want to expand and grow. You know, I want to have a website and have presence online and more followers and things like that. So I would say that is definitely one aspect that I'm working on and bossing up in my career.
Nice. And it just, like you said earlier, it takes time. Like, we get up every day and do it. We look in a month, 2 months, we'll be exactly where our goals are letting us know we need to be. So, for the motivational tea of this episode, do you have a story time you want to share, or just words of encouragement from Monday Motivation? A time you pulled a boss move, anything that you kind of tell yourself every morning?
Yeah, I mean, I think overall, just, like, being confident in yourself and, like, knowing what you bring to the table is of value. I think a lot of times, especially as women, like, we don't think that like, I know a lot of times they even say, like, imposter syndrome, right? Like, where, you know, we may have these jobs that we may not feel the most capable in, and
Yeah.
just know overall that, like, God won't give you more than you can handle, right? So if he gave you the job, know that you're capable of fulfilling your destiny. So I would overall say, like, confidence in that. You know, starting every day with a clear head, declaring your day, saying positive affirmations, praying over your life. God, I am favored. I am blessed. You know, people like me. I like people. Like, you are the energy that you attract. So I would definitely say, you know, kind of like setting and declaring your day. As far as a boss move, I would say in my career is, like, again, like, being confident. Like, if you, I know at Outfront, like, one of my biggest clients was Salesforce, and they were based in San Francisco, but they trusted me to have, like, their branding presence here in Atlanta. And, like, I was like, you need to expand your buy. Like, not only, yeah, is that good for my numbers, but it's also, like, and I always said this, I'm not going to tell you something just to get a sale. Like, I'm going to tell you something what's best for you. So, you know, they were kind of apprehensive about branding on, like, out of home, like, trains and bus wraps. And I'm like, you're missing out on a key demographic that could be, you know, result in new business for you and new sales for you and grow your overall revenue share for the quarter. So, you know, again, that ties into confidence. And I, like, just pushed back on the client. It was like, yeah, you have all this extra money to spend. Like, this is where you need to spend it. And then also giving that rationale and expertise as to why, you know, you're giving them the advice you're giving them. You know, and then just betting on yourself, right? You're your biggest cheerleader, you're your biggest fan. Like, I was at Outfront, you know, I want to say 2.5 years, and I knew kind of like my time was up. Like, I was not getting promoted in terms of pay. And I'm like, look, like, I'm closing all these deals. I'm, you know, taking your clients out on, entertaining and dinners and whatnot. Like, I need to be, you know, making more money. Like, I can't support myself off of, you know, just this. And I'm bougie, so what's poor to me is may not be poor to someone else. And that's when I just started exploring my other options, and that's when I got the call from Ideas United. So I think overall is like being confident to know, like, you are not an entity under the corporation. You are your own entity, and that corporation needs to maintain and keep you. So go again where you're celebrated and not tolerated. And if you know that you've been there 2 years and you're not really getting to where you need to be, you need to navigate out of there. So I would just say overall, just like that's the motivation I would give myself, is like being confident, praying for yourself, declaring your day, being confident when it comes to the client, and overall just like striving for success.
Oh, yeah. Because really, like if people say, like, if you're not going to do it for yourself, nobody's going to do it for you.
Literally, like no one is here to save you, honey. You got to save yourself.
So this is the time in the episode. Let people know like where they can find you. I know for people who are watching on YouTube, I have all of your information in the description box. For people who follow us on the Instagram _Young Monarch, all of your like ads and handles will be on that. But just where can people find you? Where can they find Galena Beauty, Candied Creations, everything you have going on?
Yeah. So my personal page, and probably where I'm the most active, is just like my personal Instagram page. It's Make It, so MAKEIT period MINES. That's my Instagram, and that's like kind of more geared towards like fashion and like lifestyle, my overall brand. And then as far as Galena Beauty, I have my Instagram at Beauty, BEAUTY BY by Galena, GALENA. And that's where you can find, hair tutorials, makeup tutorials, get ready with me, fashion hauls. And then as far as Candied Creations, I have Candied Creations ATL Instagram. So it's CANDIED Creations CREATIONS ATL. And then that is just like my food, like whether it's like cooking breakfast or, selling my pies, peach cobbler, banana pudding. And then the website coming soon. I'm going to have that live and running hopefully by the end of this month, beginning of next month. And I will let you know when that time comes, so that way you can plug it back into this channel. And I'm only doing local orders for now. I know a lot of people have reached out to me because people want me to ship them stuff to San Fran, Chicago, New York. I'm very much so a person that like, I'm not going to give you something that if it's not the best. So like, I would not want to give you like a banana pudding and it like be melted or all over the place when you receive it. So obviously, as I grow, evolve, I'm going to, incorporate, national, sending items. But right now, I'm just not there yet. But thank you all for the continued support. And then if you just want to talk, chit chat, you can reach out to me on my email. My email is Erica, ERICA, period, MINES @gmail.com. Always checking my email. And yeah, I think that's pretty much it.
And if you are watching on YouTube and you see these looks, stay tuned for Thursday's video because we did a little pool party day. Get ready with me. We've got full face beats. My first real full face all year.
Bossing up out of quarantine. I love it.
Definitely tune in for that for this Thursday. But thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you, Erica, for being on this episode.
Thank you for having me.
Loved these topics.
Yes, honey. And please, I am so honored to be on your show. And please, any other time you want me to come on, I am there. If there's follow-up questions or there's, your viewers who want us to talk about other topics, I'm still there to help.
We can definitely do a part 2 because on Anchor, which is at the links in my personal bio and the Young Monarchs page, people can leave their own stories, questions. So definitely if you have any more questions, you have your own comments, you want to comment on our entanglement stories, if you want to comment on bossing up in your career or relationship, or have more questions for Erica, definitely check the links in the bios, and we can definitely do like a round 2.
Let's get it. Get it.
But
Yay.
thank you guys for listening. I hope you have a great week. Happy Monday. Boss up in your career, your relationships, your friendships, your entanglements. Boss up all around, whatever you want to do. And I'll see you guys next week.
Hey,
Yeah.
bye. Monday Mayhem. See you later.